Let me start with that talk that in fact was the work from one of our master students. And so thank you, Alice, for your nice work. So what we did is a COVID-19 lung infection HPC multi-scale simulation. And let me start the talk doing a brief frame of that work. So this is framed in an European project, RexData, which vision is to develop a generic platform for real-time critical situation management, including flexible action planning, agile decision-making, and this is the key point for that, over data of extreme scale and complexity. So whatever. These are many use cases involved in the same project, but we are focused on one of the health crisis use cases, which aims to develop this COVID-19 infection digital twin, leveraging the multi-scale modeling to simulate patient-specific disease progression and response to treatment. So why multi-scale? Because to develop this lung digital twin model, we need to couple the cell tissue, so from Phoebe, mostly, to us, the organ level. And this allows to test different intervention in patients, vaccines, virus infection, drugs, mechanism-assisted respiration, whatever. This coupling, for the moment, is done in that way. So first we simulate and obtain the position map, as I shown you before, for the organ level. And then this is the input for a cell level simulation that try to simulate the evolution of this infected tissue. Okay, then let me go through that first part, the organ level. So as all of you know, respiratory system, and mostly, well, it's a complex geometry, mainly formed by these three main parts, the upper, middle, and lower parts. And in particular, let me go through the conductive and respiratory. So the middle part comes from the trachea to the terminal bronchioles, and it's typically called the conductive zone. And the distal part, as I showed you before, you could see in my previous talk, is it's called respiratory zone, and it's formed by respiratory bronchioles or alveolar ducts, also called, and alveolar sacs that I show you. But let me use this other way to classify the lungs, or by lobes, which is a useful classification that allows to analyze better some global or macro tendency or problems. Then let me present the particular geometry that we work in that specific project for the first part. So it comes from a patient-specific image, a CT scans, but due to the poor resolution of the machines, we need to construct synthetically the rest of that generation, which theoretically goes up to the 16 generations bifurcation. This is some details and also some data of the mesh. This part, let me pass and skip, which is mesh one in the previous talk. And finally, the respiratory zone also consider the cell level. And in this case, as an agent-based model, this represents a two-dimensional discretized plane, which in this case, concentration of substances are specified in that computational domain, discretized like that, and cells are represented as discrete entity, although with a concentration density. So different type of cells, as epithelial, macrophages, neutrophils, or fibroblasts, are represented or simulated. So let me remark two important comments about the coupling. The first one is considering the coupling at the organ level, or conductive and respiratory zone, that we aim to globally obtain a solution coming from the trachea and ending in the alveolar sacs. So as you could see in the presentation of the geometry, we theoretically reproduce this 16th generation. This is the conductive zone. And finally, we need to couple with the alveolar sac. This has a gap that we have not addressed, which is the 16 from the 16 to the 23. So for the moment, what we did is an spatial scaling, a simple one, considering this dichotomical behavior, but in this case, temporal scaling is not needed. But the other important remark, which will be fixed in the future, this is a first strategy that we had to address. But as I told you, the alveolar sac is a three-dimensional geometry that needs to be projected in a two-dimensional plane that represents the geometry for the cell simulations. So in this case, spatial scaling is needed and was fixed with this Laplacian smoothing of the surface, considering a Dirichlet condition on the boundaries in the inlet. And regarding the temporal scale, which is another problem or important task to fix here, as I showed you before, our cycle is for 4 seconds, so 4 seconds, the cycle. While to simulate the evolution of cells, you need at least 20 minutes to see what something is happening. So in this case, 20 minutes of radius exposure simulated with ALIA was used as an input for Fitzsimmons. Okay, regarding the spatial projection, this is, yes, it works. This is an animation to see how we project, trying to minimize the error of the solution from the 3D to 2D plane. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the simulation software, but ALIA, as I presented before, you know some details, but in this case, for the conductive zone, just let me remark that the walls are not moving. In this case, it's a simplification because it's not a real issue. We consider velocity 0 in the walls, we impose an inlet, flow rate in the inlet, and we consider this free boundary condition for the outlets, which is another question that we would like to improve. But in order to validate with the bibliography is the typical boundary condition that is used. So we reproduce stationary simulation and breathing cycle simulation with this flow rate imposed in the inlet, also simulating the breathing cycle. For the alveolar sac, I presented before the details, but in this case, we are solving Navier-Stokes equation with moving walls and imposing these displacements for different physiological conditions. And in particular, well, we also simulate the transport, the particle transport inside that organ level, considering these forces, and with that settings, 11 type of diameters, although we are focusing this specific project with SARS-CoV-2 virus, which are around 120 nanometers, but for a general purpose, we also simulate this other type of diameters. And when we simulate the cycle, the injection was done following the flow. Okay. The same for the alveolar sacs with that specific condition, which was scaled, as I told you before, between the conductive and the respiratory zone. And as I told you also before, that we are trying to see what happens simulating 3 cycles. And finally, the results that we obtained with that organ level was used to simulate what happened at the cellular level with this agent-based model code, which is called Fitzsimmons, also developed in our center, but in this case, it's for the life science department. And as I told you, the virus are not considered as an agent, but we compute the concentration in each cell, and then it's applied for the solution of the reaction diffusion equation that they solve. Okay, so let's go to the results. But the first important result was in fact an analysis of the geometry for the synthetic part, because this was done based on a mathematical model that comes from Babel in 1963 with some requirements. And what we realized after the proper analysis with the center line, trying to analyze which correspond to its lobes, which are the diameters of the outlet, blah, 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 to see if what the expected complex geometries that it's impossible to handle properly with ParaView, let's say. Then we realized that we don't have the expected diameters for the outlets as it is found in the literature. And we also extract this statistic for the distribution across lobes. So we check that the expected behavior of the dichotomicous branches was not followed from the generation 8 as we thought at the beginning. And these are our real geometry data or statistics. And as I told you, the terminals have a fixed diameter regardless of generation, which is not physiological expected behavior. Then, how to validate? Well, we saw that our geometry was not equivalent with the geometry that in the paper described, but in any case, we saw the profiles in the same cuttings of the paper, and we could check that the fluid field obtained was quite similar. But again, the uniform diameter of all terminals and application of identical boundary condition that I mentioned before that needs to be improved, don't accurately reflect the variability across generation as was needed. And some statistic about the flow rate across lobes, because this is a typical way to use that data in a whole structure. These are some fluid pressure field for these different flow rates, and these are, no, eso. Ahora, no quieren. Oh, bueno, the idea was to show you a simulation of the particles going. Voy atrás. Se han empezado a mover, pero. Sí, ahora está como totalmente. Oh, bueno, as you could see, a small. The flow rate is greater than particles transport faster, and bueno, esto tiene que ir. Finally, the deposition. No quiere. This is the obtained deposition map for each case, which is the real input that we would. Well, in this case, no, the coupling is for the particles that going through the terminals. This is the specific case for the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is the focus of that project. And again, some statistics that we extract from that all that work, but perhaps I don't have enough time to analyze and go in deep. And regarding the scalability issues, we did that test with that geometry, which is the biggest one that we are working with. And then we applied a division process to obtain more elements until 3.6, 360 elements, million of elements. And what we saw is that we were able to scale up to 20,000, around 20,000 CPUs. So we divide again to scale properly until that. This is again a test that we are trying to do with this new machine. But regarding the breeding cycle condition that we also perform, just let me remark that we need to consider that the mesh has to be improved, but in any case, these are some results that we obtained with the cycle that you could see in the different instance of time. And these are the simulation of the particles transporting with these 3 cycles for the SARS. No, in this case, it's 1 cycle. Okay. But we obtained that deposition map for each different flow rate for the breathing cycle in the conductive zone. And regarding the coupling at the organ level, then we performed that coupling that I mentioned before. But the conclusion was also that more realistic geometries for the respiratory zone need to be employed, as is or was the conclusion that in our previous talk we also saw. And Big Bob was a proper mesh to be used also in this project. But the reason to not be used the proper mesh was for the projection of the 2-dimensional plane. And how to fix that question is just saying to our colleagues in BSc Life department, please adapt your code through a 3-dimensional solution. And then this is the next steps. These are some results for the particles in the alveolar sac, but I showed you before in my presentation. So let me skip and go directly to the final part of the talk. So these are the inputs that we need for the cell level solution, that in this case is like a one-way coupling, but again, let me remark that the idea is just do a 2-way coupling. So the outputs that comes from the cell level will be used for our organ level, considering that some part of the lungs are idle or damaged, then we need to compute the solution, modifying our boundary condition based on the solution of the cell level. So, as a conclusion, the validation was done, but we realized the necessity to improve the synthetic model. And this is also that is pending to do in our research group. And finally, regarding the solution for the breathing cycle, once we obtain a good proper mesh, we will continue working on. But an important message of this work is the coupling between ALIA and Fizibos solvers. But no quiere ir ya más. Pues, future works, as I mentioned, we need to use a proper 3-dimensional geometry for the distal parts or respiratory zones. And again, pathological conditions, the necessity to adapt the code for Fizibos in 3 dimensions, and the 2-way coupling that I mentioned before. So that's all. Thank you.